A letter from your future self. Hello and welcome. Today, I invite you to join me for a different kind of conversation. It's not about the practicalities of aging, but about the poetry of a life fully lived. It's an invitation to sit quietly and listen to a message from the future. Your future. Imagine looking at your life through a reverse telescope. When you're young, you look forward, and the future seems vast and distant. But from my vantage point, at 90 years old, the lens is flipped. The past is a long, winding landscape, and the things that once seemed monumental, the promotions, the worries, the deadlines, have shrunk in the distance. What is magnified, what is crystal clear, are the truths that have endured. I have lived through times of global war and unimaginable peace. I have seen the world go from the crackle of a radio to the glow of a screen that holds all of human knowledge. I've witnessed ideologies rise and fall like the tides. And what this long view has taught me is that while the scenery of life changes dramatically, the human heart does not. The core of what matters, love, connection, kindness, regret, and joy, remain steadfast. So, if I could distill these 9 decades into a final message, a letter to the person I once was, and to you, this is what would say. 1. The illusion of later, the most pervasive myth of youth, is that time is a currency you can afford to waste. You live your life on credit, placing your most precious dreams in a savings account called later. You tell yourself, I'll write that book later, I'll learn that language later, I'll forgive them later. But from this end of the telescope, I can see that later is the most dangerous word in our vocabulary. It is a promise the future rarely keeps. I still think of my dear friend, Arthur. He dreamed of being a landscape painter. His attic was a shrine to this future life. I can still smell the faint scent of turpentine and linseed oil from the supplies he collected over 40 years. He would unwrap a new set of brushes, feel their weight in his hand, and say, soon, just after this next promotion. Then it became, once the kids are through college, the small, urgent tasks of life, the tyranny of the urgent, always took precedence over the important, quiet calling of his soul. When he finally retired, he climbed the attic stairs with a sense of triumph, but his hands, which once signed contracts with such precision, were now gnarled with arthritis. His eyes, which had scanned spreadsheets for decades, could no longer distinguish the subtle shades of green on the hills outside his window. He had all the time in the world, but time had played a cruel trick. He had saved up his dream for so long that he could no longer spend it. Don't postpone your joy. Don't wait for a perfect moment that will never arrive. Your life is a collection of nows. That is all you ever truly have. 2. The true currency of life is small moments we are taught to celebrate the milestones. The graduation, the wedding, the new house, the retirement party. And these are beautiful, important events. But if you think of your life as a grand mosaic, these milestones are just a large, brightly colored tiles that catch the eye from a distance. When you get closer, you see that the entire masterpiece is held together by thousands upon thousands of tiny, ordinary, neutral-colored tiles. These are the small, everyday moments. Without them, the big pieces would be a meaningless jumble. At my age, the memories that bring the most comfort are rarely the grand ones. I don't often recall the details of lavish parties, but I can, with perfect clarity, feel the warmth of my husband's hand in mine as we sat on a creaky porch swing. Not speaking, just watching the fireflies ignite the summer dusk. I can hear the exact musical pitch of my 5-year-old daughter's laughter as she discovered the magic of a dandelion seed head. I remember the specific floral scent of the chamomile tea a friend brought me after my mother passed away, a silent act of love that said more than any words could. These moments are the true currency of our lives. They are profound because they are authentic, unscripted, and connect us directly to a feeling of love, peace, or simple presence. Don't be so focused on building a highlight reel that you forget to live the actual movie. The richness of your life is not in its peaks, but in the texture of its ordinary days. 3. Regret weighs more than failure. Failure is an inevitable part of a life well lived. I have failed at many things. Businesses, recipes, relationships. But from this perspective, those failures look less like scars and more like guideposts. They taught me humility, resilience, and compassion. They are simply part of the story. Regret, however, is a different kind of burden. It is the ghost of a choice not made. It is the weight of the life you didn't live because you were too afraid, too proud, or too busy. My heaviest regrets are not for the things I did and failed at, but for the things I failed to do. I think of Eleanor, who had a bitter argument with her sister over their mother's inheritance. Not the money, but a trivial piece of furniture. It was an argument born of grief and misunderstanding. But pride became a wall between them. For 30 years, that wall stood brick by stubborn brick of silence. Each of them waited for the other to make the first move. When her sister passed away suddenly, the wall crumbled, revealing an empty space where 30 years of shared laughter, support, and memories should have been. The regret wasn't for the fight. It was for the silence. And there's another, quieter regret. The regret of inauthenticity. The regret of having lived a life that looked good on the outside, but felt hollow on the inside. Be brave enough to fail. But be terrified of looking back at a life of unspoken words, untaken journeys, and a heart that was never truly allowed to speak its truth. For your body is a lifelong companion, not a machine when we are young. Our body is a vessel, a vehicle, a machine that we expect perform on command. We push it to its limits and take its resilience for granted. As the decades pass, this relationship must evolve into one of partnership. Your body is not your servant. It is your oldest and most faithful companion. It is a living diary that carries the map of your entire life. These wrinkles were etched by laughter. This scar is from a childhood adventure. This ache is a reminder of a lesson learned the hard way. Our culture teaches us to fight aging, to resent our body's changes. But that is a war you can never win. The wisdom of 90 years is to trade resentment for gratitude. Today, I am not frustrated by the flight of stairs that now seems like a mountain. I am profoundly grateful for my legs that can still carry me to the garden. I do not mourn the sharp vision of my youth. I celebrate the ability to see the face of my great-grandchild, even if it's a little blurry. True health in later life is not the absence of ailments. It is the presence of gratitude. It is a deep appreciation for the simple miracle of waking up each morning. Tend to this faithful companion with kindness. Nourish it with good food. Rest it when it is weary and listen to its whispers. It has carried your soul through this entire, magnificent journey. 5. The liberation of letting go of the most surprising joys of growing very old is the lightness that comes from finally letting things go. You realize you've been carrying 100-pound weights your entire life, for no reason at all. First, you let go of grudges. You see with perfect clarity that harboring resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It only corrodes the vessel that holds it. You let go of the need to be right, realizing that a loving connection is infinitely more satisfying than a victorious argument. Then, you let go of the need to control. You accept that your adult children will make their own mistakes and find their own way. You accept that you cannot control what others think of you. You finally understand that the only thing you ever truly had control over was your own response, your own kindness, your own integrity. And perhaps most profoundly, you let go of the person you used to be. You grieve for her, the young woman who could stay up all night, the mother with a bustling house, the respected professional. And in letting her go, you make space for the person you are now, the elder, the storyteller, the keeper of memories, the sage. It is not a diminishing, it is a distillation, the profound joy of the ordinary. So, after all this, what is the final message? What is the secret to a life well lived? It is this. Life is not a mountain to be conquered. It is a garden to be tended. In our youth, we are focused on climbing higher, faster, more. But in our later years, we discover profound joy of nurturing, tending to the present moment, cultivating kindness, weeding out resentments and regrets, nurturing the relationships that matter, and taking the time to simply sit and appreciate the simple, miraculous beauty of what is growing right in front of us. Don't wait until you are 90 to learn this. Start tending your garden today. What is one small, ordinary joy you can intentionally notice and appreciate tomorrow? The taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of a bird outside your window. I would be so honored if you would share your own wisdom in the comments below. What is one truth that your life has taught you? Your experience is a gift to everyone here. If this message found a home in your heart, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more reflections on this journey of life, and share it with someone who might need this gentle reminder. Thank you for the privilege of your time.